Many moon ago in 1966, I was in Ecuador on vacation and I started surfing on some balsa wood logs in 1970 when I was in high school, senior in high school. I decided to build a surfboard on my own, got a little packet out of a surfer magazine with templates and where to get the materials and all this that you needed. And my best friend's parents let me use their garage. They didn't have a garage at our house. And it found out they realized it was the biggest mistake they ever made. Because dust went all over their house. Fumes were going through their house. And that was the only board I made in their garage. And that's where it all started. I built it. I just seemed that I was God-given natural talent to build them because nobody really showed me. I would look at the designs and shape my own board and glass it, and it just came kind of natural. And by 1972, I decided to start a surf shop in Ecuador. It was like kind of a sporting goods surf shop, which there was none in the whole country that sold dive equipment, tennis equipment, skateboards, nothing like that. It was very third world Ecuador back in '72. And it gave me an open opportunity, starting a surf shop there, to build my own surfboards, and which most board builders don't get to do because they don't get orders. Nobody knows them. They're not very good. So I had my own shop, so I built, I don't know how many hundreds of boards for my shop and gave me practice to learn how to build surfboards. And then the wood thing came kind of organically, not a pun on words,
Organic.
from Ecuador because 97% of the world's balsa comes out of Ecuador. We started out with hardwood boards in the industry. It went to balsa wood like in the 50s because they were so heavy. And then 1959, a guy named Grubby Clark, well, I call him Grubby, his name's Gordon Clark, chemical engineer, came out with polyurethane foam, which most surfboards have been built since 59 out of polyurethane foam, mostly Clark foam, because he produced about 90% of all the blanks worldwide. So they dropped balsa due to pricing, due to availability probably, just different reasons. And for me, right now, at this point, I'm calling Grubby on it because he should have never done that. They thought back then that it was a hardwood for the Amazon area tree, and it's not. And I'm working on reclassifying it at Florida Tech because it's really a weed. So that realm, thinking, oh, we can't do that to the Amazon region, and it actually doesn't even grow in the Amazon. It grows on the western slope going out from the Andes Mountains, which is not the Amazon region. So they left it behind. So 1976, I was 23 years old, went to the first trade show, had 10 or 12 balsa wood surfboards, and some of the big icons in the industry from California, all the big famous names, they had no clue who I was. And one of them, his name's Herbie Fletcher, walked up to me, and he looked at me in my face, and he goes, "Who are you, and where'd you come from?" Because it blew his mind to see balsa wood, big wave guns, longboards, all this stuff he hadn't seen in 15 years. And never seen, actually, that design of boards, ever. So it kind of propelled me into it. And at that time, I went to University of Florida, '76, and I became the first surfboard builder on the East Coast to ship boards to California and Hawaii. It's still today, it's not very unheard of. Very few people do that. And so I brought it back to the industry, and it was a gangbuster. It just, boom. And I started shipping stuff. While I was in Gainesville, I had to rent a shop, a warehouse, and my dad was going to pay for college. And I go, "Dad, I got too much business." He said, he's from Ecuador. He goes, "Oh, good. You pay for your own trip. Pay for your own college." So it went great. And ever since, it's been a slow growth. And I was actually one of the biggest board builders of sailboards in the world and surfboards in the 80s, going into the 90s. But I kept the balsa wood thing going, and slowly but surely, I told my wife, by the time I hit 60, balsa's going to be it. I'm dropping it. And now I'm 65, and my business is starting to go boom. And it's just going to be more and more, because now what's a big factor in the world? That we were told in the 70s, the paper plates, paper cups, who remembers this? Paper bags, paper products is going to destroy the world. Who remembers that back in the 70s? There's more trees on planet Earth today because we replant and stop forest fires. It's not true. So what's destroying the Earth? The worst one, and is which really has pushed me to start bringing this out. We've had some lengthy talks about something I want to do that I'm going to try to do events about, is where they sold, the whole industry sold their soul to China and started building out of EPS, extruded polystyrene. Everybody know what styrene is? Styrofoam. It blows my mind that you can go to, I mean, we need to wake up, folks. I'll say it everywhere I can. In the surf industry, 80% is made out of this extruded polystyrene, and it's one of the worst chemicals man's ever made.
Thanks. So they've been working on this apprenticeship for about 8 months, right? George, you want to talk a little bit about the experience?
With him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is my second son. My first son did this 2 years ago. Yeah, it's Christian. And my first son, laughably enough, was scared to death about learning how to build boards because he's seen how hard a work it was. He wanted to do something else he'd make a lot more money at. He goes, I don't want to learn that. But he did it, and he learned pretty good. But I find that Carsten has got more of a knack with tools and more passion for building them and learning about them. He's out there every time I ask him, like, hey, let's go out there and work for a couple hours. He's out there learning all different tools. I'm real careful of what tools I let him use because his mother would be real mad if he comes back with one hand and not two. Or, 8 fingers and not 10. But he's learned quite a bit using all the tools, and it's been a joy because there's been no resistance of any sort. And he may be the one, actually, that carries it on. As this grows, I really believe the balsa wood thing will grow because it's a weed. And once I reclassify it, and that's what I'm going to be working on next year, it could explode in the industry.
Thank you for joining us, George and Carsten Robinson.